It came from the fog. Death. First it was their arrows. Then their cavalry. Our formation broke. That's when they charged us. We gave them hell. We were keeping to a column formation during the march. There wasn't much of a road, if you could even call it a road. Archers, heavy infantry, and cavalry. The vanguard of the Bretonnian army. This was far from ideal marching conditions. We had to keep the formations tight. That's when we came across the village. We searched the village, but it was clearly deserted. The commander gave us orders to secure the perimeter. The cry of alarm was called. That's when I saw them. We were ordered to reposition on the left flank. Trudging through knee-high water, we were to face our enemy in a bog. They were first to advance. Their cavalry was harassing our rear. They were approaching our flank. We had destroyed this smaller unit, but the rest of our forces were being decimated. With archer support, we reformed. We had lost this fight. Our position was compromised. We had to fall back. It took time, but we regrouped. We positioned ourselves around the village.
They are in sight.
Enemy cavalry, scouting. They knew we were coming again, and we formed up. A soldier takes an arrow. We're in range. Our shields were soaking the water that came to our waists. The closer we got, the more arrows flew. We shifted right to get out of their volleys. Then out of the fog once more, we could see them. fighting was fierce and we were losing ground. We were relying on our right flank to break through, but they were struggling. Neither side was giving ground in this small alleyway. Our archers were making it difficult for them to advance, but once they dealt with our initial attack, they came in force. And drove us out the village once more. We regrouped in the marsh. We had lost every engagement so far with the enemy. Spurred on by our commanders, we had more reinforcements, and with our iron will, we were determined to keep going. This time we were out in the marsh. Our scouts had told us the enemy had left the village and were moving towards the windmill, where we would meet them again. The arrows came again. Figures appeared in the fog. Lines of men and shields were coming into view. We formed up once more as the loud thud of arrow against shield rattled through the air. Our cavalry were moving around their right flank, and we made to advance, but we halted just before a large bog. Then we let them come. The enemy did well to avoid the body of water as fighting broke out along the line around the windmill. Our cavalry were scoring some good hits. No sign of their cavalry yet. Numbers on both sides were dwindling, but for the first time, the fight looked even. The whiz of arrows was still going overhead, the clash of weapons and the sounds of the dying, as men fell to the ground and were consumed by the fog. After a vicious and brutal fight, both forces split and were scattered to the unforgiven marshlands. It was hours before we finally regrouped with the rest of the army.
All right.
Normal soldiers by now would have turned and fled, but not Bretonnians, not us. What men were left were regrouped, reformed. We marched back into the marshlands. By now, every soldier had accepted their fate. They would die here. We found ourselves upon the road to the village, and on it, there was a rider, an enemy scout. It wouldn't be long before all the enemy knew exactly where we were, but still we marched on. The scout was keeping his eye on us, not letting us out of his sight. Something was wrong, and we all felt it in our gut as we got closer again to the village.
At last!
Faintly, in the fog, we saw movement of the enemy.
Enemies yonder!
It was like they were tempting us in. We sensed a trap, an ambush, but not a single man slowed his pace.
Hell no!
We formed up on the outskirts of the village, looking in. Some of our soldiers were sneaking around to the right-hand side. Enemy archers appeared, firing down at our commander, with a unit of heavy infantry just below them. If this was a trap, then we would spring it, and we would charge head in. Their infantry began to disperse, as the sound of hooves, their cavalry, came charging round the corner. And with a crash and the thrusts of our spears, the melee had begun. Our archers go up to theirs and engage them in melee, as the rest of us fight for our lives down on the floor below. as more and more heavy infantry appear out of the woodwork. Their numbers were far greater than ours, but we were prepared to die. Despite the chaos, a solid battle line was drawn between the two forces as our cavalry came in from their rear. I'd take an arrow. It wasn't deep, and we spurred on, step by step. We drove them out of the village and into the bog. And for the first time this day, we tasted a small victory. We prepared for a counterattack. We knew we had no time to rest. We were quickly organising our forces to get ready for the counterattack, which would inevitably come soon. My unit of infantry were positioned in one of the side streets, holding it off completely. Bowmen were tactically positioned in shop windows and on the balcony. The rest of our infantry were watching our rear. It was deathly quiet until... the enemy cavalry had exploded into our forces, hoping to disrupt our formation, but we were quick to gather our wits and reform, just in time as the enemy infantry was spotted. Their cavalry made another charge. This time our spears were ready. We reformed quickly once again as the enemy infantry seemed to be approaching us. I was expecting archer support, but instead our archers were shooting at someone I couldn't see. More infantry were joining those opposite us. The men's fists on their shields were tightening, their sword hands clenching as the rest of our infantry came to us. It appears a few brave warriors were trying to sneak round our rear. A slight relief as some of our arrows were flying overhead into the enemy shields. The left of our line went to go deal with the flankers. The enemy was advancing, but behind them came our cavalry. And with the order from the commander, charge! The fighting got close and personal. This battle was balancing on a knife's edge. Chaos, not order, was erupting around the village. The enemy had lost their momentum. They were being cornered or chased away. The enemy was regrouping, so we hit them with everything we had left.
La cavalerie, vous pouvez charger quand vous voulez.
Hold.
Push them slow.
Charge, all in. Everyone at the same time.
Go around sets.
That's it, get around, flank.
On arrive, Lockvar, on arrive.
Fight with you boys.
Lord, vous prenez ce qui est à gauche. Stay on the road, restez sur la route.
Get on the road, boys, if you can. Steady footing's gonna win this fight.
Sorry, Clovis.
Stay on the road. Restez sur la route, restez sur la route.
Fight with your friends. Fight with your friends, boys, not alone. Getting alone, pull it back.
Allez, come on, guys. Please win this one. Hey, reform on the road now. Reform on the road now. Formez les gars sur la route.
Reformez sur la route. Poussez-vous, regroupez-vous.
Pull it back to the road.
We're too much apart, guys. We're too much apart. Rally, all together. Fight together.
Pull it back to the road.
Rally at the center of the road.
Yeah, pull it back to the road, boys. Fight on the road. It's 4-3.
Restez sur la route. Stay on the road.
Faut que tu regroupes tes gars, le gouvernement là.
Reform on the tree, on the big tree.
Keep it on the road, keep it on the road. Pull it back to the big tree stump, boys.
C'est pas fini, c'est gagnable.
Big tree, pull it back, pull it back.
Allez, so we're yet, guys. Fight together, fight together. Fightez-vous tous ensemble.
J'ai tout vu, Balzac.
Stay on the road. Restez sur la route. Regroup, reform.
Reform together. Save your boys, save your boys.
Nice, nice.
Stay together, boys, stay together. It's not over. You can still win.
Okay, regroup now. All together. Stop fighting, regroup.
Stop fighting. Reform.
Allez, ralliez-vous les gars. Ralliez-vous tous ensemble.
Watch out for the archers.
Yeah, it's mostly archers left.
Okay, let's go. All together. All together. Go.
Wait, which way? Towards town or not?
So, towards town.
Towards town, boys. Towards the town. Let's take these guys out. These four.
Allez, charge the town with infantry, guys. Chargez la
Watch out, there are archers right of those four.
Let's kill them then. Kill the archers, yeah?
Get the archers.
Oh, they're running.
Yeah, well, we're faster.
Il y a 3 mecs derrière, les gars, qui arrivent derrière vous, attention.
Oh, I went
Derrière.
I saw that, yeah.
Les gars, en face, ils sont pris pour des Vietnamiens et ça coupe.
Thank you for watching all the way to the end. I really appreciate that. I hope you enjoyed this much more edited clan battle. It took me a lot longer to make, but I tried to put a bit of a story in. In the end, they won 4-3, but they did have 10-20 more people than us, and in some rounds anyway, not all of them. It was a close game. It was a great map. I hope you liked that. And yeah, glory to the Empire.